Welcome in to sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
This is the college football show, the AAC Preview Show, the American Athletic Conference. We are jacked for this. Of course, we live in a city where there is an AAC team, and we're not going to be biased with this. As a matter of fact, I think maybe we're a little more critical of the Memphis Tigers than maybe most would be.
Yeah, I find myself to be pretty critical and fairly of them.
Very much so, but I think it might just be because we are at least somewhat knowledgeable on the subject. Yeah. So, either way, we will get to Memphis here in just a little bit, but we have all 11 AAC teams to discuss. Before we do so, there is a link in the description, sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. You can just click on it right there. Very easy to do. That would help us out a ton, and that is your one-stop shop for all of your college football gambling content. Go ahead and check it out there. Along with that, while you're doing so, you're messing around clicking buttons down there, hit that like button for us. It's the little thumbs up button. Looks like that. Hit that and make sure and hit the subscribe button. That would certainly help us out as well. We're going to be here all season long, knocking this thing out. So the college football show lives on and continues on all throughout the season and beyond that, as we have shown this year. So it continues on, and if you are subscribed and you hit that little bell right there, the notification icon, it will let you know when a new video is up. And we are going to have a ton of these conference previews. We still got a long ways to go. So, with that said, let's dive in. Are you ready?
Yeah.
The Cincinnati Bearcats. We're going alphabetically.
Okay, I was curious how we were going to start this thing.
Alphabetically, because obviously Cincinnati is the favorite to win the conference. Their odds right now, -225 to win the conference. There are no divisions right now. Obviously, right. They lost UConn, have not added anybody as of yet. As it sits, there is a conference championship game, but it's not divisions. So it's just the two best teams in the conference. -225 to win. Their win total sits at 10. The over and under are both juiced at -115. Looking at the preseason numbers, the analytics and whatnot, they're going to be favored in every game. As of right now, I think that they won't be favored by the time we get to Notre Dame.
I was about to say, I think the Notre Dame game, they probably won't be favored. And if they are, I mean, it's a half point, a point, maybe. But yeah, every other game, there's no reason as of right now for anyone to think those other teams are better than them.
The offense starts with quarterback Desmond Ridder. He gets back 4 of his top 5 wide receivers, 3 offensive linemen return. Jerome Ford, the running back, is coming back. They should improve on offense, which is crazy because they took a giant leap forward last year. Ridder is a much better quarterback now.
Ritter's one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Yes.
And last year he didn't get, I don't think, the recognition that he deserved, mainly because people don't want to credit these smaller schools, and they see Cincinnati as that. He absolutely deserves it.
Yes, he lit it up last year. The passing and running.
Yeah.
It was just absurd stats. Defense, going to be led by Myjai Sanders and in the defensive line there. I mean, this kid is unbelievable. They've had over 30 sacks in each of the last 3 seasons. That is going to continue. They are aggressive. Even without Freeman, the defensive coordinator that left to go over to Notre Dame, this is still a lot of a Luke Fickell character-defined defense.
That's right.
Right? So, and I think they will continue on. Schedule sets up perfectly. Their toughest games are preceded by bad teams or byes. If you look at it, they play Murray State before they play at Indiana. They have a bye before they play at Notre Dame. They play Temple before they play UCF. It's just it sets up perfectly for them to have a good run this year.
I understand they play Temple before UCF, but that Temple game comes between Notre Dame and UCF. I think basically they're going to play Indiana, Notre Dame, Temple, UCF. Man, that is going to be a 3-game out of 4-game run.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough, but this is not the same Temple that we're used to.
No,
right?
I'm not saying Temple is anything that we're used to. I'm just saying you still have to prepare for an opponent. You can't overlook anybody, and you're coming off of what is either going to be the biggest win in school history at Notre Dame if they win that game, or a heartbreaking and super deflating loss at Notre Dame.
Yep.
I don't think that just the week of Temple is going to make it okay to get ready for what Gus Malzahn has in store at Central Florida.
Now, I will say this. I do think that they can beat Temple and Murray State without giving their complete A-plus game.
Oh, no, yeah.
And that's
I'm not worried about Temple. Once
Yeah.
again, this is playing Temple before UCF is not what it normally would be because it's going to be coming off of Notre Dame.
Yes. The road schedule in conference, at Navy, at Tulane, at USF, at East Carolina, again, probably could not have set that up any better. They get to dodge Memphis this year.
Yeah.
I think they probably would have handled Memphis anyway.
I was just about to say, man, I think they'd handle Memphis anyway.
You get SMU, Tulsa, UCF, all at home. I mean, I like the schedule this year. I really like the schedule. So, with that said, you going over or under?
I'm going over. I don't think there's 2 losses on the schedule.
I don't think so either. I'm going over the 10.
Yeah, I don't think there's 2 losses on the schedule at all. I think there's a world where they can go undefeated.
Oh, I think so as well. SP Plus has them projected at 10-2. FPI has them projected at 9.7-3. FPI is including the conference championship game.
No.
They were 9-1 last year. They were 11-3 the year before that. I'm going over the 10. Like I think that this is a team that could absolutely go undefeated this year. Absolutely. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
We will try and roll a little quicker on this one. East Carolina Pirates, coached by Mike Houston, of course. You know how much I love Mike Houston.
I know.
From his days with the Dukes, of course, James Madison. SP Plus is projecting a 5-7 record. FPI is projecting the same 5-7. They went 3-6 last year, 4-8 the year before that. Win total sits at 4.5. The juice over is -150. So they expect it is much more likely to go over as opposed to under the 4.5. Going under is +120. Pretty crazy to me. 10 starters back on offense, including quarterback Holton Ayler. It should be Mike Houston's best offense. They're going to top 2020's 30 points per game average. I think they could really do damage. I mean, there were games where they absolutely lit up the scoreboard. 10 starters back on defense as well. That means usually means improvement. We shall see. They avoid SMU and Tulsa, but they do have App State and South Carolina in the non-conference. Likely not going to get to a bowl without a major upset.
Well, and they also play Marshall.
Yeah.
Non-con. And Marshall's no joke.
Yeah,
and Marshall's bringing, if you go back and listen to that preview, Marshall's bringing back that entire team that was loaded.
Yes.
Loaded. I think they've got the toughest non-con schedule in the country.
Okay. Yeah.
Anybody else going to play Marshall, South Carolina, and App State?
Like relative to what the team is, yes. I agree.
Okay, like Georgia and Clemson are playing one another, and okay, does one super team and then 2 cupcakes trump 3 solid to good teams that are considerably better than you the last 5 years?
Probably not. I mean, this is pretty rough. This is pretty rough.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm taking that positive juice, and I'm going under.
See, I'm going to go over here because I think Navy is not as good this year. I mean, they weren't very good last year. I think Memphis, not as good this year. I think they can sneak up on Tulane. I think they could sneak up on obviously, I think they'll beat USF and Temple. Cincinnati, I don't expect them to beat Cincinnati. But I think they can hang in with Marshall. I even think they could beat South Carolina.
No.
I mean, I think it's possible.
They're just not the same program. I would be shocked. I'll be shocked if all that happens. I'm going under. I'm taking that positive juice. I think this conference is going to cannibalize itself in the middle badly.
You might be right.
I don't think there are a lot of teams at the bottom. I think the teams at the bottom are going to struggle to win any games.
I am a huge Mike Houston believer, and I'm a little bit biased in that. So I tend to give him the benefit of the doubt most times.
My biases are coming into effect also because my respect and love for Hogo, okay? Yeah. I think Dana and Houston are going to be significantly better. I think Tulane's a coin flip game. I think, South Florida's probably a coin flip game. I think Memphis is better than them. Not to just run through the schedule,
You don't see 5 wins.
No, I see 1 guaranteed win in Charleston Southern.
Okay, I can get with that.
And that's the only one where I would chalk up and say, no doubt in my mind they're winning that game.
Yeah, no,
the rest of them, coin flip at best.
You might be right.
No, well, I think they're probably better than Temple
this year for sure.
This year, so I got them 2. Got them 1 conference, 1 non. So.
Moving on from there, the Houston Cougars, and you talked about Hogo. Dana Holgorsen, this is his third season, went 4-8 in 2019, 3-5 last year. It has been a complete debacle, not just because of like Dana Holgorsen, but just the things that have surrounded, right?
That's right.
A bunch of players chose to redshirt after the fourth game in the first season. The next year was the COVID year, and they were ready to play in September and did not get to play until middle of October. I mean, It was just a disaster. They had a bunch of guys or a bunch of opponents have to postpone last minute on them. You know, we talked about that a lot last year on the show. It was just a disaster. Clayton Tune is back at quarterback. The entire offensive line is back. 4 of the top 6 receivers, 2 of their top 3 running backs. They should be the best offensive team that they've had since Holgorsen's been there.
I do think this will be his best team.
Yes.
But we talked about the first 2 years of him kind of.
Oh, it's just being, yes, this is not, what you got in those years was not what you should expect. Sure. Defense in 2019 was waiting for a bunch of transfers to be eligible, red shirts, et cetera. Last year kind of went through the same crap because of all the COVID stuff. Defense should be better this season. It's the first stable year under Dana Holgorsen.
That's right.
The schedule sets up for a fast start. They are favored in 9 games this year. They dodged Cincinnati and UCF.
That's right. I was about to say dodging both of those is massive.
Oh, yeah.
Is massive. They should, unless something happens, I think there's a chance they're favored in every conference game.
I think it's entirely possible. Yeah, their win total is at 8, and the over is juiced at -135. The under is +105. SP Plus and FBI both have them going 8-4.
Yeah. I think that's probably right. If you make me pick to go over or under,
I'm going over.
I would go over. I think they're going to be favored against Texas Tech.
I think there is a strong chance that...
I'll say this. If they're not favored against them, I'll be betting them, and I'll probably betting them anyway. I think I like them to win that game.
SP Plus has them favored in that game by like a half point.
Yeah, I have that as a coin flip game. Yeah. Okay, so we're on track there.
It's
but I take my chances with them.
The only game on the schedule where they're projected to be more than a field goal underdog is Tulsa. Like at Tulsa. And even then, I think that they are still better than Tulsa this year. So
I don't know. I got to see what Tulsa looks like because last year's Tulsa looked different than anything I've ever seen. And I don't know, is this the new Tulsa that we're going to get? And we're going to get there. Or was that just a weird-ass COVID thing?
We'll talk about it.
I don't know the answer.
We'll talk about it. So, but we both like them to go over.
Oh, I like them to go over.
I think there's a strong chance that they could be in the conference championship game.
Yeah, I think, because of not playing one another, and Cincinnati and UCF have to play one another.
Yes.
That's the one thing that's going to piss me off. If one of those teams is undefeated and the other one has one loss to the other one,
and then Houston gets in by going undefeated.
Gets in because they're in conference undefeated or whatever. Like, that's going to piss me off.
I can believe that. I can believe it.
But I like Hogo, so I'm okay.
We talked about the Memphis Tigers. Well, we are going to continue that discussion. Ryan Silverfield, in his second season, they went 8-3 last year. Got a bowl win for the first time in forever.
That's right.
I mean, since they beat up on BYU in the Boca Raton Bowl or whatever years ago. Went 12-2 the season before that. That was their Cotton Bowl year. The win total sits at 8. It's juiced at -110 to the over, -120 to the under. SP Plus and FPI both have them going 8-4, so it's right on the number. It went 2-8 against the spread last year, so for all the gamblers out there, did not quite live up to expectations as the season wore along. The offense, definitely going to miss quarterback Brady White. Arizona transfer quarterback Grant Gunnell, it looks like he is going to be the starter, but you never know. I mean, there's 4 different guys. Like Peter Parrish from LSU has transferred in. Like, they got dudes. They got 8 starters back on offense. They don't have the playmakers that they had under Norvell. That's what worries me about this team. This offense...
I got worries.
Like, with Johns, the offensive coordinator, he was so used to these guys that were speed demons.
Ultra athletic.
Yes.
Like, some of the fastest guys in the country, not just in the conference and not just on the team.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
And I don't know that they've got those. Now, I mean, there's wide receiver Calvin Austin. Like, they got some dudes.
A few guys, but Silverfield's not going to recruit like Norvell did. He's just not.
I will tell you this. He has done well as far as the recruiting rankings go.
That's fine.
I don't think he's been able to find the guys. Yeah. Right. And now we're only 2 years into this, and we've been dealing with COVID, so it is what it is. Mike McIntyre's defense, Improved in 2020. They allowed 557 yards per game average over the first 5 games.
I do think that's where they will improve. They will. Yeah. I think they're going to take significant steps backwards in offense. I think they will take significant steps forward on defense.
Listen to what they averaged over the last 6 games. Yeah. Only gave up 332 yards per game over the last 6. 8 starters back means it should resemble the last 6 games.
I almost want to spend 5 minutes going back and looking at that schedule, though, because this is a case of played a lot of bad teams at the back end of this thing.
They did play Cincinnati and UCF early.
And not
Arkansas
just that.
State.
Remember that Arkansas State game where Arkansas State put like 800 yards of offense.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was crazy. But that was the first however many games of McIntyre. They did play SMU early as well.
Oh, no. And that team was not built to play defense. Correct. Let's get this thing right, okay? These high-powered, high-speed offenses – none of them play great defense.
Yes.
Because it's just not possible. That you're just throwing guys at the, bodies in front of bullets is all you're trying to do, trying to slow things down.
Oh, yeah.
You're not actually stopping anybody when you play that style of football. I think their style's going to change.
I think it is, too. I think it's going to change a lot. I do think that you are going to be able to tell what this team is after the first 4 games. They've got Arkansas State, Mississippi State, and UTSA. That's before they ever even get into the conference. But, your Power 5 team, Mississippi State, you got them at home. You got UTSA at home, who is a vastly improved team under Jeff Traylor. Arkansas State, you're going on the road to Jonesboro. Butch Jones has got a bunch of guys returning.
Well, that was a good team last year.
Yeah, they were... they went like 3-8, but they could.
No, they were
competitive with everybody.
Oh yeah, I was about to say no. You can't look at that record. This team, that team's not going to be afraid of Memphis.
Oh no, of course not, especially not at home.
No,
if they can win, honestly, they need to go 3-1 in those first 4 in order to get to the 8. I've got them going under the 8.
I was going to ask you, what was the odds again?
Under is -120. Over is -110.
So it's done a lot of difference. I would go under as well.
I think this team is closer to 6-6 this year.
I do too. I think they've got too many coin flip games, and I like SMU better than them, and I like Houston better than them. They need to win both those games and all the rest of the coin flips to get them to 8.
Yeah,
I just don't think they can do it.
I don't think they can either. So we will flip the page and move to the Navy Midshipmen and Ken Niumatalolo. Last year was not good. He made a calculated mistake. He miscalculated. We'll say that.
Sure.
He did not tackle in practice last year, and it showed against BYU. Now, don't get me wrong. BYU, fantastic team last year. But they got walloped, and then they continued to get walloped throughout the season. They had a couple of, decent wins and whatnot here and there. But, the comeback against Tulane, that was just
he should be brought up on fraud charges for that.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. The win total here sits at 3.5, and to go over 3.5 is +105. The under is -135. SP Plus and FPI both have them going 3-9 this year. Defense was, they were bad.
Yep.
I mean, they just, they were bad early for sure. I think it had a lot to do with not tackling in practice. But either way, the first 7 games, they allowed 445 yards per game and 37 points per game. The last 3, now obviously the schedule helped with this.
That's right.
But they allowed 246 yards per game and only 14.6 points per game.
Yeah, but they play bad teams, and then even when like the Army-Navy game at the very end of it all.
Yeah.
That was a mud fight. And it was a game where the other team, neither one of those teams cracked 100 yards almost.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad. So that pulls the average down.
Oh, it certainly does.
It certainly does. And that's one of the better teams that they played.
Yes.
So
the offense only scored 16.6 points per game for the season. They should be improved at quarterback this year. That should help bump the numbers up at least a little bit. They had 25 first-time starters last year. That could have had something to do with all these numbers. They should be better this year.
They should be better this year.
But
what do you think?
Dude, the schedule is unforgiving.
Well, no, they didn't get a single, nobody in the conference.
Listen to how they start, okay? Marshall, Air Force, at Houston, UCF, SMU, at Memphis, Cincinnati, at Tulsa, at Notre Dame, and then you've got East Carolina, at Temple, and Army on the back end.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, they better they better. I know you like East Carolina a lot. One of the reasons I'm going under is Navy's not going to get blanked through this thing. They're going to have to find a way to beat somebody. Yeah. They got to win ECU. They got to win Temple. Yeah. And that's just to get them to 2. My question is this. Do you go under, over, or under?
Oh, I'm going way under. I'm under 3.5.
I don't know, way under. Hell, it's hard to go way under.
I think the most that I see them winning on the schedule is 2 games.
So I do too. Air Force?
Air Force is a toss-up, but they won't be favored.
Okay. Army?
Army is not a toss-up. Army's expected to be favored by close to 10 points.
But what do you like?
What do I like Army.
They don't have a chance. So
I like Air Force. I like Army. I like everybody.
So you don't think they have a chance to compete for the Armed Forces Cup?
No.
Okay. That's because when I saw this schedule, my first thought was the only thing they're playing for
is the Commander-in-Chief trophy.
Is the Commander-in-Chief trophy. That's it. That's it. Because you look at this gauntlet, they need to circle Air Force week 2, and they need to throw everything they've got at trying to win that game. Yeah. And then you've got the rest of the season to try to figure out how to beat Army. Because that's it. Yeah. You're not beating these other teams. Obviously, they always pull an upset off, and they always, pull a rabbit out of their hat once or twice. But that doesn't save your season. If you come out of this year with only 2 wins, but they're against the other military academies,
then you're all right.
It's a great season.
No, you're right.
A great season.
You are correct.
That was what I was curious. Do you think they can win either of those games?
I don't think so.
I don't
think so. Conference odds, by the way, they are 9th to win the AAC at plus 10,000. So there's basically no chance.
Nobody's seeing that.
But I've got them under 3.5. Now, I will say this. Coming off of bad seasons, anytime Ken Niumatalolo has had a losing season, he has come back the next year, had 8 wins, and then the last time they did this, came back and had 11 wins.
Yeah, had a real special season.
But, there ain't no Malcolm showing up on this one.
Well, so it's not just that. The American wasn't as deep as it is now.
Oh, no, and they didn't have this
When I talk about this conference being, easily, without question, a Power 5, this is what bothers me about college football fans. In one breath, they'll say, well, they would never hang with the Alabama or the Clemsons. Okay, that's fine. And then they say, well, the SEC is just top-heavy. Like, wait a minute, hang on. The ACC is just top-heavy. I agree with both of those statements, which means if we take the top off of both of them and then throw the American in to all 5 of the Power 5 conferences, take Oklahoma, throw them away, take Oregon, throw them away, this conference is head and shoulders better than almost all the rest of them.
I tend to agree.
And this is why I think Navy don't have the luxury that they had a couple of years ago.
No, sir. Not when you are playing Air Force, Army.
If they were out there in the Mountain West with Air Force, it might be different.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Entirely possible. Next up, the SMU Mustangs. Sonny Dykes has got things kind of rolling, man. Went 10-3.
That's the team I like this year.
They went 10-3 in 2019, 7-3 last year. Got a quick start out the gate, but had some injuries, stuff to deal with. Their win total this year, 6.5. Yeah. Over is -105. The under is -125. SP Plus has them going 7-5. FPI has them going 5-7. So it's somewhere in between there, which 6.5 is right in between 5 and 7. That makes sense. But looking at the schedule, they've got a gauntlet at the end of the season, so they need to get a quick start. The offense returns 9 starters. But, they bring in quarterback Tanner Mordecai. They've got tight end Calcaterra from Oklahoma. They got Ulysses Bentley back at running back. They've got Reggie Roberson back from injury. They got game changers. They got stuff.
They've got Sonny Dykes running this machine.
That's what they should put up 40 points a game.
Yeah,
every game this year. Defense returns 9 starters. They bring in new defensive coordinator Jim Leavitt. So that is a major plus.
Improve things.
Linebacker Denbo and Robinson are studs. The D should improve this year. That 6-game stretch to close the year is where, it's just brutal. If you look at this, Tulane, at Houston, at Memphis, UCF, at Cincy, Tulsa.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. There's not a guaranteed win anywhere in that bunch.
No, but the
way they start out.
If they go 3-3 in that, then
then we got a good shot.
Then they bust this thing.
Yeah, because like the hardest
outside
game,
of TCU.
Well, that's it, right?
I think they're running the gauntlet on everybody else.
Like this is how they open up with Abilene Christian, North Texas, at
listen,
Louisiana Tech.
Don't tell me.
You know,
like, I love Gary Patterson.
Yeah,
Tell me.
But this is a rivalry.
He's going to look past this. This is the Dallas Bowl here, man.
Yes, this is a rivalry. This is the real deal. This is the real deal.
So they might snake that win out.
No, you're 100% right.
That'll hurt my feelings, but
I can believe it. I
understand.
Temple. Now, we talked about them earlier. Expected to go 3-9 by both SP Plus and FPI. Went 1-6 last year. 8-5 the season before that. Rod Carey is entering into his third season. The win total sits at 2.5. To go over is minus 155. So that's definitely good, right? To go under, plus 125. Now, Georgia quarterback DeJuan Mathis transfers in. That should be, a big deal. Running back Iverson Clement comes in from Florida. That could be, that could work well. They're going to pair that with 8 returning starters on offense. Analytics say that the Temple offense should improve. I do have my doubts a little bit, but the overall talent level has improved, right? Defense brings back 6 starters. They got 3 P5 transfers that came in as well. So looking at the numbers, looking at everything else, they should be better as well. They were not allowed to scrimmage until almost October last year. There were a lot of excuses for why their season went as badly as it did.
I've tried very hard to not judge these teams based off of what happened last year.
Yeah.
Good or bad, by the way.
But I will tell you this. They, yes, they were on like their 5th string quarterback by the end of the season. They had to deal with a bunch of injuries. They had all kind of problems, I think Temple under Rod Carey is headed in the wrong direction. And, it's not that this is a super difficult schedule. Like they open at Rutgers, at Akron, and Boston College, but they are actually expected to be underdogs in all 3 of those games. And when you're expected
so I don't know about
underdog,
the Akron game. I definitely think Rutgers and BC are
on the come up. Yeah,
significantly better in their phase of their rebuild or whatever, and I think personally significantly better coached.
Yes,
and therein lies the problem of that start. They got a coin flip game against Navy.
I mean that's it. Like,
I don't know how to get them to 3 wins.
Like they might like the most difficult games are at home.
That's right.
Their winnable games are on the road this year, and that is a bit of a problem. They've got Wagner, they've got Akron, they've got Navy and East Carolina. There's spots here maybe where they could get to 3 or
That's
even
right.
4.
Oh no, yeah, they could.
I've got,
but they got to win all the coin flips,
yeah.
and they got to beat the teams they're supposed to beat. But therein lies the problem of there's normal years 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even 3 or 4 years ago. Rutgers is a team you're supposed to beat handily. No, not with Shiano there, not with what they're doing there. No, BC completely on the rise, totally
under
different
Jeff
team.
Hafley. Yeah,
and they're just a better football team.
I'm gonna go over the 2.5 because I think they can get to 3.
Yeah,
because I expect them to be able to beat Akron. I expect them to be able to beat Wagner.
Those are the only 2 wins that I think I feel good about.
But I got to get one more. Like all I got to do is get one more.
That's right. And I've got coin flips for East Carolina, and I got coin flips for Navy.
Yeah. So if you go 1-1 in those games, that gets you to 3.
Gets you to 3. The problem is when you're only flipping the coin twice, it's not uncommon for it to go heads.
You're right about that. So are you going under?
I would go under just to get the positive juice because I think I'm flipping a coin.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lay 150. I don't want to lay $1.50 on a coin flip.
That makes sense.
When I could get plus 125 on the same coin flip.
That's true.
It's strictly a math play, and I don't think this team's good right now.
I tend to agree.
I hope I'm wrong because I like Temple, and you know that.
Yeah.
I've always liked them. And
we especially like them under Rule and under Jeff Collins.
Well, yeah, but it's impossible to I'm not judging this man as a coach based on what I've seen so far because when you're a coach, it's same thing. You'd be a fool for judging Dana for the same thing. You can't judge him.
Yeah, no, that's entirely true. Entirely true. The Tulane Green Wave. Our boy Willie Fritz.
Yeah.
Win total is at 5 this year. To go over is minus 135. To go under is plus 105. SP Plus has got them going 6-6. FPI has this team as the number 36 team in the country. They have them going 8-4.
Okay, I have them going over the 5. But
I have them going over the 5 as well. Like, we won't even wait to the end.
8-4 though.
They went 6-6 last year.
They got to win all their coin flips to do that.
Yeah, went 7-6 the year before that. Returning production, I mean, they bring back 80% of their guys. It's number 49 in the country, but still, that's a bunch of guys coming back. 10 starters back on offense. They did lose offensive coordinator Will Hall to be the head coach at Southern Miss. Fritz is an offensive guy, and there's a lot of talent here.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be just fine with what Will Hall did there and taught them.
Well, they were good before Will.
Yeah.
They were different before Will, but they were still good.
They were still good.
And they were a still capable team. I don't like losing Will, but at the same time, that when you were good before the genius came, I'm not really afraid of you losing the genius.
I do trust Willie Fritz.
I will tell you this. They got a tough run at it. Oklahoma, Ole Miss, not going to be anything fun. They get both Cincinnati and Central Florida in the conference.
They got UAB.
They got to play my boys UAB.
Yeah.
That's 5 of your 12 games right there.
There are 4 games that they are projected to be favorites of close to a touchdown, right?
As much as I love Bill Clark, and I will be rooting for Bill,
Tulane should beat UAB.
That's not a game that Tulane should lose.
Correct.
Tulane should be a better football team this year than UAB.
So I've got them going over the 5. I think it's
possible.
possible.
Going over the 5. The 8 blows my hair back, though.
Oh, yeah. No, the FPI situation, I'm not sure what their metrics are saying, but that
has them beaten Houston, SMU,
probably Memphis,
Tulsa,
as well.
Memphis. They got to win 3 of those games to get to 8. That's a lot.
That's going to be a lot, but I do think they can go over the 5. Now, it is entirely possible some of these coin flips go the wrong way, like Houston and whatnot. Yeah. I think those could go the wrong way. It could end up dead on 5.
That's right.
So, but I will gladly go over as opposed to under.
I'm going over as well.
I think they're closer to 6 wins than they are 4.
Oh yeah. No, I think 5 is the floor. Like I don't know that I could see them going 4.
I don't know. I think
the team would have to fall apart.
Yeah, they would have to fall apart.
I mean, it would just have to be a complete implosion, right?
Yeah, I tend to agree. All right, we got 3 teams left. Let's go ahead and roll through these. The Tulsa Golden Hurricane. Philip Montgomery is the head coach here. Their win total sits at 6.5. They are number 3 in the conference as far as odds to win the conference. They're only plus 1,000. Not crazy. Not crazy. Went 6-3 last year. That was a big improvement over the year before. Went 4-8 in 2019. SP Plus has got them going 7-5. FPI has them going 6-6. So with the 6.5 total, over juiced at -105, under at -125. I mean, it seems to be right on the number. At a glance, last year came from basically nowhere, but they had kind of built up over several years with this team. They had some near upsets in 2019. They kind of started it moving in 2018, so 2020 was when it was supposed to hit anyway, right? 9 starters back on defense, but linebacker Zaven Collins is gone. He was the heart of the defense. I'm very curious. At Tulsa losing a first-round NFL draft guy that was the quarterback of your defense,
yep.
You may have 9 guys back. You may still run your confusing 3-3-5 defense, but
replacing that guy's not going to be easy.
Exactly. So same thing on the other side, right? Everybody else returns on offense except for the quarterback, Zach Smith. How much of last year was Smith and Collins? That's what I'm curious about. I've got them going under the 6.5. Like the analytics love them because, they overperformed last year, and now they got 20 starters back. But I wonder how much of that was smoke and mirrors. I mean, they won some close games. There was some turnover luck involved there. And don't get me wrong, I do like Tulsa. I like some of the pieces. This is just a tough schedule. Playing at Oklahoma State, at Ohio State. They got Arkansas State that they should beat. But then Houston, Memphis, Cincinnati, SMU, Tulane. It's tough for me to be able to find more than 6 wins. So I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I'm going to go over just because I have them going 7.
Okay. I can buy it.
But that's it. Like, I mean, it's right on the number. if they, I don't think they'll lose more than, their number won't be smaller than 5. I think 6 is their floor. Unless this team was just what we saw last year was just a mirage.
I mean, it's entirely possible. Entirely possible. Moving on from there, I know this is a team that you are ready to discuss, the UCF Knights. Gus Malzahn is now in town. He got paid $20 million to stop coaching Auburn, and now he gets probably the best job in G5, I guess.
I think so.
Like, everybody talked about a decline for them last season. Their 3 regular season losses were all one-score games to Tulsa, Memphis, and Cincinnati.
Yeah, great team.
But their defense was completely shellacked by injuries and COVID and opt-outs and everything else. It was just a disaster, and they still only lost 3 regular season games by 1 score apiece.
Right.
Like, they were right there with everything else. I think Malzahn coming in is going to give them a little bit more life. Their win total is at 9.5. Over is juiced at -115. Under juiced the exact same. They are second for the conference championship odds at +400. SP Plus got them going 9-3. FPI's got them going 8-4, but that is more like percentage chance of winning, losing games. It's tough to get to a double-digit number for a lot of these. Malzahn got paid, a bunch, but he looks like he's got fire. I'm curious, does Dylan Gabriel fit into his offense? I think Malzahn could shift around what he does to fit Gabriel. I think that's going to help a lot. But they've got the whole offensive line returning. They replaced a lot of skill talent, but they got a ton of talent.
Yeah, I was about to say,
they got talent.
Dudes.
The defense was a disaster last year, but I just explained it. Like, I got them going over 9.5.
Yeah, I do too. Like, I think it won't shock me if this team finishes with 1 loss in the regular season.
Yeah, to Cincinnati.
And I think they're my pick to replay that game.
I could believe that.
As much as I like Houston, as much as I like SMU, I don't foresee them going undefeated.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I do see UCF running the table.
That's look. I understand like the non-conference is kind of difficult. They got Boise State coming in. They play at Louisville, I think they could win both.
I think they're favored in both those games.
Oh, they are
going to win both those games.
Yeah, I think they're going to win both. Like, it's the only game that I really see them losing is Cincinnati.
That's the only game that scares me.
Yeah.
So now they could get got by SMU. Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean they could get got by Memphis. A bunch of stuff.
I
don't know about Memphis.
I don't. I love Memphis, but I don't. I think they're significantly better than Tulane. They're significantly better than Memphis. Like, the only team outside of Cincinnati that scares me is SMU.
Yeah, okay.
That's just because Sonny Dykes has been running his system for a long time there. And
Gus is just getting in.
We don't know what Gus is going to try to change year 1.
No, you're 100% right there. All right, closing out the AAC is the USF Bulls. Jeff Scott, in his second season last year, was a terrible year to have your first year as a first-time head coach. I will tell you that. Went 1-8 last year. They went 4-8 the year before that, Charlie Strong's last season. Their win total this year sits at 3. To go over, juiced at -105. To go under, juiced at -125. That, of course, means that the sportsbooks believe that it is more likely that they go under as opposed to over. I'll go ahead and tell you, I tend to agree.
Yeah,
looking at the schedule.
I do too.
Start out with at NC State and then hosting Florida. That is not how you want to start.
And they got BYU in there.
Yep, they got BYU.
Like, their first 3 out of 4 games is against big boys.
Yes, that is rough. It was a terrible year for his debut, like I said. Offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss Jr. and defensive coordinator Glenn Spencer. He basically picked up Florida Atlantic when Lane Kiffin left and just moved him over to Tampa. But they didn't even have time to implement their defense and offense. Like, they didn't. There was just no time. Offense has got 9 starters back now, so that's good for Weiss Jr. That's a big thing. Quarterback Cade Fortin transferred in from North Carolina for last season, got injured super early, didn't even really get to throw a pass. Had a season ender, and now he's back, so that should mean hopefully good things. Jordan McLeod, the, returning quarterback, he's transferred out. So, whole new thing going on in Tampa. Defense got 9 starters back, but as they say, old trash is still kind of trash. Like, not to completely crap on the Bulls here, But I do expect Jeff Scott to do better going forward.
I think that we'll be better, and I think he's going to recruit fine there. Everybody recruits in Florida.
Yeah.
And this is a place where you can recruit and you can do well. I just think this conference is really good.
Yes.
My argument for the teams that I have at the bottom are this conference has gotten significantly better, and they are either at the beginning of their new rebuilds, which puts them significantly behind the eight ball, or they just aren't on the same level right now.
You're 100% right.
But this conference
it's brutal.
If all of these games, I picked a lot of teams to go over, there's a really good chance that all of them go under because it's just going to cannibalize one another.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm rolling under 3 here. You doing the same?
Yeah, I would too.
I just don't think that there's I just don't see a lot of hope for this season. I think this is a good building block.
That's it.
Yeah.
No.
So, championship game. Who you got?
I'm rematching a game earlier. I'm going Cincinnati, Central Florida.
UCF. Yeah. I'm doing the same thing. I've got Cincinnati winning.
I got Cincinnati winning.
That's odds on that
13-0.
minus 225. I think this is a
think
year
this
that
is
we can do a playoff.
I think this is a year they can break into the playoffs.
I can get down with it.
Because I think we're going to have some chaos elsewhere.
I think so as well. All right. Anything else we need to hit with it?
Nope.
That's going to wrap us up for the American Athletic Conference. We appreciate you guys watching this video. Again, do us a favor. Go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. There is a link in the description down there. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And if you don't like our opinions, you can jump into the comments, of course. Let us know what we got right, what we got wrong, etc. Or you can just hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Gary WCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
And I think that's it. We're not going to worry about the email today. You can find us if you need us. No worries there. No worries. So, sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. And that is going to wrap it up. For sportsbookreview.com, I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And we will see you again next time.